Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're back on the 71 donk again. It's Monday. It's actually late Monday. I've been working on this thing all day. It's just been small, tedious things. It doesn't look like I've done anything, but I've done a lot. I've done a lot of little things, and some of that stuff could really take a toll. It's just slow going. It's annoying a little bit. But some of the stuff that is slow and annoying today, that felt like I've done a pretty good job on. And I didn't film anything while doing it, but I'll show you that now. So I went to my buddy Rob's shop, and he has all kinds of assortment radiator hoses, and I went there with somewhat of an idea of what I needed. I grabbed a couple different ones, and I just found the absolute perfect radiator hose. And to some of you that might not be a big deal, but man, that could be 4 trips to O'Reilly's or something like that, trying to get the perfect hose. And I got super lucky, and it's flawless to me. So pretty stoked about that. Next would be the coolant crossover lines. And those are also a thing that could be really annoying and tedious to me. And like I stated before, I didn't want a block hanging out on the blower. And although some of you might think the lines are just as ugly as a block, this is how I would prefer to do it. So that's just how I'm doing it. So I got those done, and it was a little tricky getting back in here to get in there, but I put the line on the fitting, and then I was able to use the line to bring it down onto the head and then tighten it down. It actually worked out pretty well. While we're right here, I had to wire in a alternator 12 volt switch power to this, because the old alternator was kind of like a not a one wire deal, but it was like, I guess it was just always on. It didn't need a switch wire. This one does. So I've been working on that, and I've got that routed into the cab. Also, I did starter wire. I couldn't find the starter wire on the painless harness that comes out of the car, and I had talked to the guy who put the painless harness in. He said he put it in the cab because he didn't want it going through the engine bay. And I was a little upset that I couldn't find it at first, and I was kind of worried, but when he told me that, huge relief, because I wouldn't want that wire going from the firewall up and over or even down. So I was super stoked when he told me it was actually inside the firewall and it was inside the car. Made my life way easier on that. So that was a pretty big plus. Two big things that we're waiting on right now. I was going to use like a stock coil harness, but it was super ugly. So I called Lou. Lou's just gonna order an aftermarket Holley one, cleans it up, super nice and tidy, clean. And then he actually said that the headers will be here this week. So after that, this car should start. This car should run after that. I got a couple more things to do inside the cab on the Dominator harness. So as you can tell, it's still a nightmare under here, but it's actually slowly getting better. Eventually, I'm gonna get rid of this double relay setup. I've showed you the one in the previous video of what I'm going to use. Actually, I'll just show you again right now. So instead of the 2 relays under the dash and then the 1 relay for the fuel pump in the trunk, I'm gonna go to this Leash Electronics. It's a 4 relay Dilly Whopper, and that's probably gonna go in the trunk. So I want to eliminate all this wiring that goes through the firewall and underneath the dash. So if I can eliminate probably 50% of the wires under there and those 2 relays, and then everything will just get routed into the trunk. This will be super clean, hidden, and out of everybody's way. So pumped about that. Whether I put this in at the moment or not, eventually that's what I'm going to do. So other than that, oh, yep, I did make another alternator wire, the main power alternator wire. Another trick that I kind of like to do. Now, although this looks black, I don't know if you can see it on camera.
I use it's like a Teflon sleeve that goes over this. And if you look carefully, you can see the red wire or the wire casing through this. So that way, if somebody other than myself is taking this apart, they should be able to see the red wire through that casing. The casing just really hides the bright red wire underneath the engine bay. So I did that, and that's about it for today. Like I said, it doesn't seem like I did a whole lot, but it's all these little tedious things that add up. So today's video is kind of short and sweet. This will probably get carried on into tomorrow when I decide to probably carry on with the wiring underneath the dash. So I'll keep you updated on what I got going on. We're back. We're working on wiring today, and I showed you before that relay kit that I'm putting in, and I'll show you why. This is the type of crap that keeps me up at night. This dual relay kit, which I just cannot wait to get rid of. This is what I used to use, and I've had some problems with these, so really I was looking for something new and better. When these guys are on the road, the last thing I want is to have something go bad and they don't know where the relays are or can't find one or yada yada. So, and this junction, I cannot wait to get rid of this. So most of this junction is really only used for the relays and some of the temporary starter wire and ignition switch wires that I have. This is just a toggle that I have for the power because the column does not have power yet. That is something that I was not a part of, and to be honest, I don't know what I'm doing with some of that stuff. All I know is that right now I cannot start the car with the key and the switch how Lou wants it, and that will go to Gus, and Gus will take care of all of that. So right now, main goal, basically I'm getting rid of all of this, and it's really gonna clean up this entire deal. And if you didn't see before, I'll show you what I'm going to. I am going to this. This is just the prettiest thing to me. So super cool. It's a 4 relay board. It's got one big power in, one big ground in, and the main powers to like fuel pump, fan, other fan, whatever, pump, whatever. So one big power wire comes out of here. So I don't need a million grounds and powers going everywhere. The trigger wires go into right here. So that is super killer to me. I cannot wait to get rid of a bunch of wiring that goes through the firewall. I'll run it underneath the car. And also, this is the fuel pump relay that, and although it is ugly right now, this was gonna be tied together and taped and nice and hung and, placed neatly somewhere. But we'll get rid of the whole damn thing because I hate it now. So that new board will probably go somewhere here, and it'll be easy to get to. We can change fuses and do whatever we need to, extremely easy. All of them will be right here. And once the interior, I'm not sure if Gus is doing the interior, but he will build a battery box, and then this little relay board will hopefully be, in the interior where it's visible. It's got LED lights to let you know if it's on or if it's off, or if the LED turns red, that means a fuse is blown. So stuff like that is super helpful. It's hard when they're out of town at car shows or they're cruising down the road and they call me and say, my car doesn't run. I'm like, what is it? And they go, I don't know. I don't know either. I can't diagnose a car from 3 hours away. So hopefully this gets rid of that, and stuff like that never happens again. So that's what we're working on today. And I already made this power in and out. So
hopefully we'll get this mounted. All right, guys, it's been a long day of wiring. Look at all this trash I took out of here. All kinds of wiring. Justin's over here right now helping me out. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. So hopefully once they do the trunk area with the interior, this will be mounted somewhere nice, or at least mounted decent, and then with a cover over it to hide this stuff. But that turned out awesome. We are currently trying to get it to start, and so far we must be missing something, because it's turning over, but it's just not firing. So we're gonna look into some cam and crank sensors. Maybe the cam sensor's not even plugged in. I don't know, I better look. All right, I got a used sensor. I'm gonna throw in here real quick. That's a little dark, but all right, snapped in, she's all the way in. I'm gonna put the bolt in here, tighten it up, put the starter back on, see if we got some signal. All right, just like that. Got that new sensor in, plugged in, got the starter on. We'll crawl out of here and try to fire this thing up again. Oh. Justin's already pushing up arrows. We haven't even got this thing started yet.
One way to do it, man.
Yeah. Get this thing in here. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Okay. Okie dokie. I'm ready when you are.
One second.
Did we figure out if the fuel pump was turning on while we're cranking? Or is it not doing that?
I forgot to start listening.
Yeah, me too. I don't think it is.
I don't think it will until the
Until it
crank's
sees-
working.
Yeah, signal.
Let's see. Okay, go ahead.
Here we go. Is it working?
We are seeing RPM.
All right. Check that plug wire for spark.
All right, go ahead.
Ready?
Crank it.
Check plug wire. So we got no spark.
Still not sparking. It's not cranking very fast. I would say that.
Yeah. What was the what did the RPM get to?
Didn't
100?
show it. Didn't show it. Crank it. See that?
Ready? Usually it's like 100.
Yeah.
You think that's
It is
enough?
getting RPM though. We're getting RPM now.
Okay, so it's getting RPM.
So
Huh.
why are we still not getting?
Not getting. Huh?
We're still not getting signal though.
Why is that?
I don't know. Getting RPM now though. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's one less problem to have, but why are we still... I mean, I figured that would do it. I figured that would fire.
But maybe the cam sensor is bad. Maybe it's just the wrong brand, you know?
Well, if the crank sensor was bad, maybe the cam sensor is too.
Yeah, probably the same thing.
Crap,
Yeah, you haven't had sensor
because that would suck. I'm sure there's some in some motors I got over there.
That's the next thing we gotta try though.
Okay.
Turn the key up.
We're gonna start with the cam sensor now. Okay, we've got this thing figured out. Justin and I have been changing cam and crank sensors because we couldn't get a signal on the computer, and we couldn't figure it out. And in my head, I thought it had something to do with the key switch power. So we've changed out 6 cam and crank sensors, and we just couldn't get it to work. And finally we gave up on that and went back to what I thought it was, but couldn't really confirm. And I know when you see this wiring, you're gonna be like, well, duh, it's not gonna work. Look at this, you know, spaghetti bowl we got here. But this is how this car was before, and it ran before. Now, this is my temporary key switch power, and remember, because this stuff doesn't work on the column yet, so I had to run a temporary switch. Well, we checked voltage while cranking, and it dropped down to like 7 and 8. Well, that was not enough for the computer to be happy. And I just, and even though this is the same thing as the old motor, this wire right here powers this block straight off the starter, and my temporary power wire to this toggle switch went here. Well, this block is only getting, you know, 7 or 8 volts while cranking. And we hooked up this jump pack to the block and then to a ground that I have, and the car fired right up. So we've been struggling for, how long has it been, Justin?
3 hours, 4 hours?
3, 4 hours, and what a nightmare. So finally it runs, it's got oil pressure. I'll get a video of it running in just a second, but for another temporary fix, I'm just gonna run this power wire straight from the battery, and it's gonna eliminate going through this block and yada yada. Now, Gus is going to fix this column as soon as it gets to him, and then all this temporary crap is gonna go away. And I know it sucks to have to do this, but unfortunately I just, you know, I don't know what's going on in the column and with the harness in the car. It's got a brand new painless harness throughout the car. Gus is just not finished wiring that up. So once he's done, all this bull crap will go away, and it'll look nice, and we'll, you know, we'll get rid of the ugliness, and it'll all work. So that's what we got. You hooked up?
Yep.
All right. So, you ready to fire it? All right. I'm gonna switch. I gotta hook up some wires. This whole damn time, just the switch.
Got some heat in the pipes.
Now it works. What a nightmare. Now I can send a video to Lou, and he can stop stressing as well. So
Come get this thing out.
I know this thing was supposed to leave last Thursday. It is literally a week from that. And but it is what it is when it comes to stuff like this. We can't rush this, and it needs to be running at least movable in and out of the other shops so they can do what they need to do without having to push it around, which it is what it is. And thankfully, you know, we at least got it going. I'm gonna send a video to Lou, and I'll turn the camera back on here in a bit. All right, so now I can start putting this thing somewhat back together. In the video, you probably just saw that this belt is off. I had to take this belt off and a pulley off to get to the cam sensor back there. So now I can finally bolt the cam sensor in for good, put the pulley back on, put this belt on, and you can see also in the video that we were looking for spark to know if it did or didn't have spark, and in the video, of course, it had spark. So I can take that off, button that back up, and that's about it for now. All right, guys. We're about to drive this thing out the door, and I'm actually gonna deliver it to Lou today. I had to deliver a motor in Chicago area. I'm driving right past his shop. So just courtesy of me, I mean, I might as well hook a trailer up and take it to him so he doesn't gotta waste his time to come here. After all, it is pretty late on our deadline, so that's the least I can do. So we're gonna start this thing up and hope that it moves under its own power. I was here pretty early this morning, topping the transmission fluid off, going over a few things, and see what happens. I need a seat. Oh, no. Just make sure I don't hit nothing, Justin. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, guys, well, it's now about 10 o'clock and I was supposed to be on the road at about 6:30, 6:45. You see in the video, we pulled it out of the shop and we backed it up, and I went to just rev it up a little bit and it died. And since then, it only ran on like 3, 4, maybe 5 cylinders at most. And we have literally, we changed injectors. No, we didn't change injectors. We changed spark plugs. We checked injectors. We did Noid lights on the injector harness. We checked all kinds of ground wires. What else did we check?
Pulled the blower lid off.
We pulled the whole blower lid off. I mean, we're looking for vacuum leaks. We're looking for everything. We charged the battery. I mean, I've had issues in my day, but nothing quite like this. And at last attempt, when we found out that the injector harness was not sending signal to the injectors from the computer side, it had 12 volts, but it was not sending the ground signal. We knew it was computer related. So we went straight to the computer and I just unplugged stuff, plugged it back in, and then voila, it worked. It was the plug itself. Like I said, the car's been sitting probably 8 months without a computer in it, and I just plugged a computer in it. And the terminal plug was a little dusty, and we cleaned it all out, put it in, and it just fired up all 8 cylinders, ran perfect. So that one threw us through a loop. It was pretty wild, but I'm ready to hit the road. We got Blackie loaded down. Justin's over this car right now, and I'm not gonna lie, so am I. We got Blackie loaded down. We're gonna deliver this engine and head towards the city. What's up, guys? We made it to Lou's shop and we unloaded the car off my trailer. He put it right on his trailer and shot right over to Gus's, so I didn't even get to film you know, us talking about it and everything like that. He was in a hurry. He just wanted to get it over there as fast as he could. So but Lou's got another project for me, of course. Not this one, but this one's cool. Got Mike in here with this Caprice. Y'all might know the car. done cut off. So on this car, it's pretty much all together, done, and it runs. Turbo LS, 6-liter. The car used to have a bigger engine from what I was told, and that engine got replaced with a little bit of a smaller engine. It's got a Pro Mod turbo on it, like a 98 mil or something like that. And without the big motor in it, the car just doesn't spool up that fast. So we're going to put a smaller turbo on it and a tune and get this thing to come out of the hole real good, spool up real fast. So I'm gonna load this thing up, strap it down. That'll be it for today's video, but stay tuned on this deal and I'll film what we decide to go with and do with this deal. So thanks for watching, I appreciate it. Subscribe. Let's go.